Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever or whenever you happen to be watching this. I'm Daniel Parker, co host of Critique Corner. Usually, you will see me live on Thursdays at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific with my co host DB Fastbinder, where we do movie and sometimes TV show reviews. But starting in 2025, we'll be doing some more pre recorded movie and TV show reviews for all of you. Unfortunately, DB couldn't join me for this review, something about washing his hair. So I will be handling this review on my own. For the first review in this series, I will be talking about a somewhat obscure 80s horror flick, Basket Case. Now, Basket Case came out in 1982, and it was directed by a guy named Frank Henenlotter. And it's the tale of conjoined twins whose names are Dwayne and Belial. Dwayne is a normal looking young man. Belial is not. Um, and the movie starts off where we see Dwayne walking along Times Square carrying a wicker basket, and he checks into a very low budget hotel. On the seedier end of things, and he and his brother are in New York because they're going to get revenge on the doctors who separated them. And for those of you who are curious, or if you don't know anything, Belial is it's kind of hard to describe. He's kind of a deformed mass of like flesh and bone. He has a face, he has arms, and he can kind of move around, but that's about it. And the rest of him is just he's just this big mass. And so the movie, as the movie plays out, we kind of get a little bit more into the backstory with Dwayne and Belial, and of course, Dwayne has a love interest in her name is Sharon. And Sharon happens to be the receptionist at one of the doctors that Dwayne and Belial are going to get revenge on. And of course, Dwayne really likes Sharon, but Belial likes Sharon even more. And so basically, it's just these two brothers, and that's basically the plot of the movie. There's really not much not much to it. Where the big crux of it, the movie, or where the selling point of the movie, I guess, what I'm trying to say is the special effects makeup and the gore, and there is a stop motion scene in there with Belial where he throws a tantrum and he's just trashing the hotel room. But he's he can't talk, by the way. So that's the aspect of it too, is that Dwayne and Belial speak to each other. Belial speaks to him telepathically because they have this like telepathic connection. And Dwayne just speaks to him normally. And it's their interactions are just really interesting, to say the least. And uh, and I will say this movie is very gory. It's very violent, and there is one scene in particular with Belial and Sharon that I can't say what happens in the scene because of YouTube, but it's not a pretty scene. And from what I've heard about when they were making this movie, a lot of the crew actually got up and walked off the movie after they filmed the scene because they're like, okay, I'm out of here. I'm not doing this anymore. Um, and that's the other aspect of with this movie is it's when it was released, it was very controversial. Like it got banned from a lot of theaters. A lot of people weren't going to show it. It was actually Joe Bob Briggs, the host, current host of The Last Drive-In on Shudder, which is actually where you can see this movie. And he was the one who was actually very instrumental in getting this movie out into theaters. But yeah, overall, this movie is it's strange, to say the least. Um, Interesting concept. I will say that, and it has great, like I said, great special effects. Um, the gore is very gory, and it definitely grabs your attention. But and obviously super low budget, um, from what I can tell, especially acting wise, because a lot of the acting performances are not fantastic. Particularly one of the doctors in the movie, she is just. I don't know if she was just a really bad actress, or if her lines were ADR'd in. And it might have been ADR'd in. It kind of looked like it from what I can tell. But yeah, this movie. If you are a hardcore horror aficionado, um, either you've probably already seen this movie, so I mean, recommending it to you probably wouldn't make much of a difference. Um, but uh, but if you haven't seen it yet and you are a hardcore horror aficionado, it's right up your alley. For everyone else who are normies, maybe not so much. Like I said, it's a very strange movie. I think if I had to rate it on a scale of 1 to 5, I'd probably give it a 2.5, maybe 3. Just because, like I said, it's a very interesting concept. It's got great effects, and it's not scary, but it's definitely Belial is I would say Belial is terrifying. Yeah, they did a good job in making him as scary as possible. But other than that, like, the rest of it's just, yeah, it's all right. Um, but yeah, I mean, if you're curious about it, like I said, it's on Shutter if you want to check it out. But well, I think I've said all I need to say for this movie. Uh, if you enjoyed this review, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, ring the bell, and of course, join me and DB Thursday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, for our live show. So until next time.